everyone, and welcome to our session today. We are really happy to be here. My name is Ashley Lopez, and I lead program management for AI at Atlassian. And I'm going to welcome both Daniela and Leslie to introduce themselves.
Hey everyone, I'm Danielle Latham, and I do product marketing at Atlassian.
Hi, I'm Leslie Martin, and I lead program management for IT and business systems at Udemy, where I've also led initiatives related to AI enablement, knowledge management, and streamlining our applications. I'm really excited to be here at Team and sharing Udemy's journey with all of you.
So today we're going to talk about knowledge management and common challenges. We'll discuss tactics and recommendations for preparing for your transformation. We'll share insights and learnings from both of the transformations of Atlassian and Udemy. And now it's important to note that not everyone in this audience will be at the same stage of maturity. Our aim is to provide a range of suggestions to be applied to whatever stage you are in. And finally, we will wrap up and open up the floor for questions. So why are we even here talking about knowledge management? Because it's hard. And good knowledge management practices are vital for organizations aiming to thrive as AI becomes more prevalent. Knowledge management practices, when done properly, can be the foundation for effective collaboration, enhanced decision-making, and can even support innovation at the speed of light. Data is abundant, but ensuring that knowledge is not just stored, but actively utilized puts knowledge management at the center of any AI transformation. So I do want to note that today's session is not about how to use AI to improve your knowledge management systems, though we'll touch on that in a couple different examples. The focus today will be on the preparation and steps that you can take to make the transformation of integrating AI with your information a lot easier. And because many of us are aware, we are also faced with application sprawl. With over 1,000 applications in the average enterprise, knowledge lives everywhere, yet nowhere, all at once. And because of this, if information is not properly managed, it can lead to silos and trapped information in applications. And to make matters worse, many of these applications are either superficially connected or not connected at all. So this leads us to a discussion on challenges. Many individuals struggle to find the information that they are looking for. They may have a distant memory of a topic, but they can't remember, was it in a DM, an email, a channel? Does this sound familiar? Disconnected tools and a reliance on manual knowledge sharing between individuals makes finding information when you need it nearly impossible. And once you find the information you're looking for, is it even accurate? Are you able to trust that the artifact right in front of you is up to date? Or is there new information lurking in channels or DMs that invalidates the information that you have? And as your organization continues to grow and the demands continue to increase, how do you keep up? Who do you lean on? And how do you ensure that everyone can find the right information at the right time? And how do you ensure that users can only see the artifacts that they have access to? Ensuring that sensitive information is protected is absolutely paramount. As we advance towards integrating knowledge management with AI, maintaining privacy becomes even more crucial, especially when data is processed through large language models. So what can you do to better prepare your knowledge management systems to leverage the power of AI? We've done our research, and we've even gone through our own transformation. And today we want to share a handful of practical tips that can help you in your transformation. So we recommend focusing on two specific areas. We'll talk about tooling and your app landscape. We'll also talk about preparing your greatest asset, your people. Remember, the power of AI is that it can sift through your knowledge base to find what you need quickly and process that information efficiently. And garbage in is still garbage out. It's not about perfection right now. It's about making the information work for you. Now let's get into what you can do about your tools. So right now, I'm not going to go into any specific use case. Instead, I'm going to keep it broad so it can apply to as many situations as you find yourself in. Whether you apply it to your IT knowledge base or your engineering and dev documentation, we've got you covered. Now, I would be remiss if I didn't mention the need for an AI governance model. As you embark on your AI transformation, you'll also need to consider how you establish an AI governance model that is unique to your own organization's needs. Later on in this talk, we'll discuss how Atlassian and Udemy have leveraged their own governance models to tackle and address risks within their business. Okay, let's get into it. Let's go into the tips. First, you're going to want to start by conducting a thorough assessment of your knowledge bases. Whether you're choosing to apply this to your whole company or to a specific use case, do not skip this step. It is critical. Remember that app sprawl conversation we had talked about a little bit earlier? This is your time, your opportunity to take a look at your current app landscape and optimize. Not only is there an added benefit of potential cost reduction, but it also paves the way for curation of information in the tools that matter to your teams. And because AI systems are all about processing and retrieving information, you'll want to make sure that this is done effectively and efficiently by leaning into standardized formats and being intentional about how and when it is appropriate to apply structure. Find areas that are ripe for templatization. Have your employees feed your existing tools based on their existing workflows. Look deeply at your internal processes and identify key areas that you want to invest in for workflow optimization. Now, keep in mind, you can get caught up in this. You don't want to over-index on standardization. Putting information in the tools is what's key. This is an iterative process, and the goal is to improve over time. Keep it agile. So as part of this assessment, it is very likely that you will have identified artifacts and tooling which is unnecessarily locked down or buried. Find ways to not only expose this rich content to more users, but also look into what it takes to allow your applications to integrate together and share information where possible. Now, information is information, no matter the source. Whether it's formal documentation like SOPs or runbooks, or if you're looking at more informal documentation such as comments, emails. When your knowledge is well integrated and leveraged by all, momentum will continue to build across your organization. And this leads me to my next part, which is all about people. A large part of finding success, especially when preparing for AI, is to ensure that you've appropriately and purposefully taken the people aspect into consideration. So let's talk about how you can prepare your employees to be better stewards of your own knowledge bases, as well as how they individually can shift their mindset into an AI-forward collaborative approach. Let's dive into these three pillars. So studies have shown that a highly engaged workforce has a direct and positive impact on a company's business outcomes. Therefore, providing opportunities for your employees to upskill in related areas will likely pay dividends. For example, You can offer training sessions to familiarize your employees with your existing tools and workflows. And I would add in that you might want to add teaching them a little bit about AI, the new features and the functionalities to better help them integrate. Always bring your employees along in the journey and provide opportunities to problem solve in very purpose-driven ways. When given the opportunity, your employees will imagine super creative solutions. And make sure to implement feedback mechanisms and listen. Listening is absolutely key. Now, just because change management is notoriously difficult does not mean that we should shy away from it. Building a well-thought-out change management plan can help you address risks early on and be a lot more intentional about where you need to invest your time and your money. Seek out opposing ideas that can address resistance. Start small with select teams that have the time and the energy to experiment with the changes that you have proposed. And always, always seek feedback. Iterate. Make sure to learn from your mistakes and pivot and adapt as necessary. Implementing a sound change management plan can ensure a smooth transition to knowledge management systems that are ready for AI. And a collaborative culture builds momentum. Where you can, ensure that working teams are cross-functional and diverse. Studies have also shown that well-diverse teams typically come up with a lot more creative ideas. Encourage your leaders to promote a culture of openness and collaboration, where employees are motivated not to hold things internally, but instead to share. And incentivize your employees to continuously share and recognize them for those efforts. By focusing in these two key areas, you could ensure success. Now, I'm going to transition this over to Daniela, my colleague from Atlassian, who's going to share more information about how at Atlassian that we've gone through our own transformation. Thank you.
Thanks, Ashley. So I'm going to spend some time now talking through key learnings from Atlassian's knowledge management transformation. Obviously, every organization is unique. We hear that everyone has varying resources, challenges, maturity level. So to clarify, at Atlassian, we're at quite a mature stage in our AI transformation. I'd love by a show of hands, is anyone else here in the room at a fairly mature stage in their AI transformation? How about folks that are at an earlier stage in AI transformation? Yeah. And anyone here who hasn't started their AI transformation? Okay, so we've got a real mixture, which is great to see. So the frameworks and tips we're going to share are going to offer a robust foundation that I feel like everyone can learn from. So a little more context, as you may or may not be familiar, we pride ourselves, one of our key values at Atlassian is open company, no bullshit, which means we're open by default, and therefore we take a very democratic approach to knowledge management. So this means, in a nutshell, that knowledge management is not the responsibility of a few people, it's the responsibility of everyone. So ideas are flowing freely and teams are constantly co-creating. So with all that in mind, as we embarked upon our transformation, one of our first areas of focus was doing a thorough assessment of our knowledge management practices based on the opportunity that we had. So we operationalized our own AI investment framework, which was based on ROI, as well as alignment with our company OKRs. And the outcome of this assessment was to gain clarity on the top areas for strategic investments, two of which were search and standardization. So at Atlassian, we were actually going through our AI transformation at the same time we were building AI features as a vendor. So this serendipitous overlap really led to a lot of really interesting learnings. So by investing in our search functionalities, both across Atlassian apps and third-party apps, we empowered our employees more efficiently to find and maintain knowledge. We also leveraged things like templates and automations to better standardize and structure our knowledge effectively. So by drinking our own champagne, we were able to build rich data sets of information and better prepare our knowledge management. So next up, going back to Ashley's earlier point about AI governance, we leveraged our own frameworks that we built internally for AI governance to improve and prepare our knowledge management systems. We ensured, for example, that all AI functionality that we built respected clear permissions. So if I'm doing a search in Jira or Confluence, for example, using AI, I don't even see any results unless I have access to the relevant pages and work items, and restricted content is completely ignored through that search. This really helped us reduce risk in our democratic approach to knowledge management and help safeguard our data integrity. So now let's move on to our approach for how we empowered employees to undergo our broader AI transformation and how this also resulted in improved knowledge management systems. So at Atlassian, we did recognize early on that becoming an AI-first company is not just about technological innovation, it's about cultural transformation. We committed to AI as a top-down key company transformation. Our goal to harness the power of AI for our customers and ourselves is visually represented on the desktop of every single Atlassian employee, serving as a constant reminder to this commitment. So our approach to employee empowerment was built on 3 foundational pillars: training and education, incentivization, and change management. So now let's give you some really tactical examples of that. So first of all, with the help of some of our core and supporting product teams, we started by focusing on promoting AI for everyday knowledgement applications and use cases to our employees. So for example, using a simple prompt when writing in our apps to improve communication, showing them how to leverage AI search across the apps that they were already using, and also connecting our service agent that we built to key Slack channels to answer common questions about IT. Thereby, we were familiarizing our employees with how to use AI in very low stakes, simple, everyday practices. And we promoted this through internal blogs and key company meetings. We also had some more informal, discipline-specific trainings that were led by internal subject matter experts. Here's an example, which is a Loom recording of the training we did for our marketing org, our entire marketing org. These sessions were recorded and they were leveraged as ongoing knowledge assets. So people could come in, search this later on, watch it. It was enriching our knowledge management. And we also had the win-win of being able to repackage internal training like this as external-facing content for customers. Once we became a bit more mature in our transformation, we built out more comprehensive training. So here's an example of a mandatory training for responsible AI usage that is run internally for all Atlassians. And we can also proactively share this training with employees who are using external AI tools as well. And next up, incentivization played a vital role in encouraging the adoption of AI to improve knowledge management. And this also helped us foster a culture of innovation. For example, we encouraged employees to, not just developers, every type of employee, to create low-risk, no-code agents and share them in a dedicated Slack channel where they could be recognized and celebrated. So here's an example of an agent that my colleague made for new marketers to help them onboard into Atlassian. We also launched a series of short videos featuring Atlassian employees talking about their favorite applications of AI, and many of these focused on knowledge management. These short and simple videos were shared on social media, and we offered participants a chance to win gift card prizes when they were sharing these out. But as we evolved this series, something quite interesting happened. We began to develop a directory of internal SMEs, subject matter experts, which further enriched our knowledge base. And this directory grew over time. As people became more and more confident with AI, we built out the directory. These SMEs were primed as well for public speaking opportunities, which was a really great way for them to build their own personal brand and grow professionally. as well as support Atlassian's thought leadership. Finally, we implemented change management strategies to ensure a smooth transformation. So we started our AI rollout with very small core teams to rapidly learn and iterate before expanding outwards. And once we had a bit more stability, we rolled out larger initiatives. So you can see on this screen a tactical example. We introduced the Rovo Chrome extension as a default for all of our employees, obviously with an opt-out option, to really encourage them to use our own systems for discovering knowledge by default. And we established mechanisms like ongoing surveys, dedicated interviews across different disciplines to gather feedback as we gained more and more maturity. We monitored adoption over time, and we shared progress and insights to further enrich our knowledge base. So to summarize the top takeaways from our transformation so far. First, a successful AI transformation requires both top-down and bottoms-up employee engagement. So top-down through executives, bottoms-up through employees, through incentives and education. Utilize subject matter experts wherever you can to enrich your knowledge, and recognize that the reward doesn't have to be financial because many SMEs really appreciate being seen as thought leaders. And finally, as you go through your transformation, consistently document your learnings. It's not just going to help you get better, it's going to enrich your knowledge base. By integrating this practice as well of things like knowledge sharing into things like professional development and performance reviews. For example, setting knowledge sharing as a goal or a KR or a metric, you can further incentivize your teams as well. So now you've heard all about Atlassian's transformation, I'm going to hand over to Leslie, who's going to talk through Udemy's experience and key learnings.
Thank you, Daniela. Much of what both you and Ashley have spoken about mirrors what Udemy experienced as well, especially when it comes to the challenges. Tool sprawl has been a major pain point for many organizations, and we were no exception. At Udemy, that fragmentation made it difficult to manage documentation effectively and to realize the full potential of AI. AI, of course, is both a challenge and an opportunity. And within Udemy, we had early adopters, particularly within the product and engineering team, who are already experimenting with how to integrate this into our product offerings. But across the organization, interest was growing rapidly. We saw a spike in requests for new AI tools and features, which ironically only contributed to our first challenge of application sprawl. So we had to take a step back and ask ourselves the bigger question. How do we unlock the potential of AI with the tools that we already have, and not just for the early adopters, but for the entire organization? If you're not familiar with Udemy, we're a global learning platform with over 30,000 courses in our course catalog. Our content ranges from leadership to knowledge management to, you guessed it, AI. And this is a stat that I found especially interesting. In the past year alone, we've seen over 800% increase in the consumption of Gen AI productivity courses on our Udemy Business platform. This is clear that individuals and organizations aren't just curious about AI, they're actively investing in building these skills. And because of how transformative AI is to our work, the Harvard Business Review forecasts a need for millions of workers to be entirely reskilled in the next decade. This is going to transform careers, and the data highlights a growing need for AI literacy in the workplace. So while we recognize this as a need, what are we going to do about it? To address these challenges and take advantage of the opportunities, Udemy had 3 key solutions. First, we focused on enabling a robust technical infrastructure. We simplified our application portfolio, we optimized strategic tools, and we enabled stronger governance. That includes making the intentional decision to point people towards the tools that we already have, reinforcing that before we buy new platforms, we need to enable what's already in place. Second, we made a commitment to upskill. What moved the needle for Udemy was our executive leadership who led by example by upskilling themselves first and then calling for action to upskill all Udemy-mates. It was the combination of the right tools and empowered people that moved us from talking about AI to actually doing AI with real impact on innovation and operational efficiency. Next, I'll dive deeper into each of these areas. First, we strengthened our technical infrastructure by reducing applications and focusing on the tools that matter, including the Atlassian ecosystem. By centralizing our work and knowledge management in Atlassian, we created connected data that's retrievable, visible, and actionable. That's laying the foundation for GenAI-powered content and insights. It also simplified governance with fewer applications to maintain, while enabling organic, cross-functional collaboration. And in conjunction with the technical infrastructure, we needed to enable our workforce to effectively use these tools. As a learning company, always learning is one of our core values, and it's part of how we operate. Every month, Udemy holds what's called a U-Day, which is one dedicated day with no meetings, fully reserved for learning and upskilling. In 2025, the entire company is focused on upskilling in AI. This means that all Udemy-mates will be focused on building their AI fluency regardless of role, team, or level. For each U-Day in 2025, we've intentionally mapped out learning paths that progressively build AI skills with the tools that we use. And when an entire company upskills together, it fundamentally shifts how we work, collaborate, and innovate. As Ashley and Daniela shared, top-down only works when it's reinforced by bottoms-up feedback. So after each U-Day, we review data around engagement and how new skills are being applied. And from our latest survey, it's clear that Udemy-mates are using AI in smart, practical ways. They're applying their developing skills to our longstanding challenges around knowledge management. This is proof that upskilling is a catalyst for your organization. And if we can do it internally, we can help our customers do the same. To help you with your transformation, we built the Udemy AI Assistant. Through a natural language conversation, our virtual learning companion helps you build a skills framework and generate a custom learning path with top-rated content. So there's no need to sift through dozens of courses. It's fast and focused on what matters most to you. So whether you're an executive or a team manager, you can use these learning paths as a top-down directive to upskill your team, boost performance, and potentially transform careers. And if you're looking for pre-built content on GenAI specifically, we've also curated 24 learning paths that are designed for different roles and levels. This allows each learner to build AI fluency at the right depth and pace for them. The Udemy AI Assistant and curated learning paths are for Udemy business customers, but individual learners can purchase the full courses on our site. And if you're interested in learning more, you can come and talk to me afterwards. So what did we learn? First, the right technical infrastructure creates an ecosystem that drives alignment, visibility, and momentum. Second, upskilling is a catalyst. When teams understand the tools, they use them with confidence and creativity. And third, plans don't drive impact, people do. When vision is paired with enablement and empowered teams, strategy becomes reality. Now that we've covered Udemy's transformation, I'll hand it back to Ashley.
So today you've learned a little bit about how your organization can prepare your knowledge management systems to process and embrace AI. You've learned from both Atlassian and Udemy on how they've improved their knowledge management systems to boost their own AI transformations. But as we all know, the journey does not end here. What will you do?
Thanks, everyone. Thank you so much.